Huddle with corporate cars, delivering affordable luxury European vehicles nationwide.
Josie Pagani is back with us. Hello, Josie.
Hi, Larry.
And Cam Slater. G'day, Cam.
Hey, Larry.
Thank you for joining us on Auckland Anniversary Day, Cam. Anyway, Josie, issue number one to you, David Cunliffe's State of the Nation speech, and more money for babies, $60 a pop. What do you see in it?
Well, I actually think there's some inspired politics going on here too, that when you think John Key invaded Labor territory last week with the education, what you've got here is Labor really taking the Working for Families tax credit to beneficiaries policy, which was unpopular at the last election, and binning that and replacing it with this family benefit. And I think that that's going to appeal to a lot of Labor supporters and a lot of Labor voters. At the same time, it's going to say, okay, we accept that Working for Families and extending an in-work tax credit to people on the dole is sending a mixed message. So we're going to do this instead, and we're going to target inequality, and we're going to target those who haven't benefited to date from any perceived economic recovery.
Cam?
And it will fall completely flat, because unless he's going to have an army of brown shirts standing at supermarkets ensuring the $60 is spent on nappies and food for these children, it's simply going to go into the coffers of Lotto, the various different booze barons that are out there, and the cigarette manufacturers. And there's no way that he can actually control where that money's going. It's a complete joke.
But Cam, you don't say that about superannuation. You don't say, oh, who's going to control our elderly going into the bar, going into the shop and buying sherry?
Superannuation. This is a breeder's bribe, and it is trying to encourage more and more people to have babies. We've got a replacement rate. Our New Zealand fertility rate is 2.06 versus Singapore's 0.79. It's just not going to work.
What's wrong with having babies?
Well, there's nothing wrong with having babies, but you should afford them yourself and not expect a subsidy from the government to feed them. What was Working for Families? Right? Working for Families was created so that people could feed their children. Now we've got the Green Party, which we'll talk about in a minute, talking about feeding the kids at school. You've got Labor saying we're going to pay for food for these people. It's just a complete joke. And if you compare John
But you
Key,
can't on the one hand say that this is, dropkick parents and giving dole bludgers more money, and on the other hand say...
all the way up to 150,000. It's creating a new bludger class
and
up
on
to
the other hand,
150,000.
well, you can't say...
French MPs getting subsidies from the government to have children.
You can't say on the one hand that this is dole bludgers, and on the other hand say it's middle class welfare.
Well, it is.
The truth
it's all of that.
It's either one or the other, right? So you can't have it both ways.
MPs like Nanaia Mahuta popping out a Sprague and copping $60 a week.
Okay,
if you compare John Key with David Cunliffe on their policies and their launches in the past week, you've got a game changer versus a nappy changer.
Well, let's get real about this, because when we talk about, and I know, Larry, that you're talking about this before about the 150,000. Is that too high a cutoff? Are you targeting the most vulnerable there? But you've got to realise this. You're talking about two parents here, because most families have two working parents. So that's 75,000 for each parent. Let's say hypothetically, that is not a lot of money. That's not a lot.
You can't. Oh, well, hold on. Mr. Cunliffe will tax those people earning 150. You can't seriously sit there with a straight face, Josie, and say that these parents earning 150k a year should be getting an extra $60 a week. Come on.
But Larry, you've got two parents who are going out to work. They're paying for early childhood education. They're paying for holiday fees. They're paying.
You want the state to start? They should be paying. No. They've had the kids.
Let me give you an example. We'll talk about the Greens as well. Let me give you an example that I have lived in different countries where Britain, France. I haven't lived in Finland, Japan, and Sweden. But these countries, for example, give kids either free or subsidised school lunches. Now, no one talks about the parents like you guys are. They talk about the kids, because they say, what are you going to do about the kids? Even if the parents, as Cam keeps saying, these dropkick parents, even if that's true for a certain percentage of the parents, you're still left with a bunch of kids who are going to school hungry. So
because the Green Party and the Labor Party tells us we've got a child obesity problem. So what is it? Is it fat kids or hungry kids?
We'll come back in just a moment. Cameron Slater and Josie Pagani on the Huddle. NewstalkZB. It's 17 to 6.
On the NewstalkZB.
Back on the Huddle, Josie Pagani and Cam Slater. Cam, you finished up by saying what fat kids obesity problem. What's the go there? What were you getting at?
Well, the Greens have come out with their policy and saying that they're going to start feeding kids at school for lunch. So I can just imagine it's some mung bean sandwich that's with gluten-free, non-allergenic nastiness that we're all going to have to eat, because they won't allow us to eat anything that's actually yummy like a pie. So they're saying that these kids are going to school starving. In their stats, they've said that 9% of kids are starving. But in press releases all over the last year or so, and including the Labour Party, they're telling us that we've got a childhood obesity problem. So what is it? Is it starving kids or is it fat kids?
Yeah, but hold on. The whole obesity thing, we'd have a whole debate about that. And I agree with you, Cab, that I think the obesity scare is, I mean, the All Blacks are obese, let's face it. It's silly. That's a whole other issue. But look, the key point, I think, here, Larry, is it's all very well to say, oh, you know, this is yet more welfare, yet more state subsidised.
Well, it is more welfare. I mean, it's clear.
Well, why don't you guys get angry last year when 30 million goes to Rio Tinto? Decades of subsidies are going to Sky City. Let's look at superannuation, which has ballooned from $8 billion when the government came to
look,
$11 billion.
Let's focus on the policy, though, Josie. I mean, with the Greens policy, you're talking about the free school lunches, the healthcare, the nurses and social workers. Well, actually, they're already there. But anyway, the after-school care and holiday care. What it is, Josie, is just more welfare. It's just state control, isn't it? Parents are not capable of doing all this sort of stuff.
No, to be honest, this is exactly what you guys said when we first talked about paid parental leave years ago. And I ran that campaign. You ran the same arguments then, not you personally, Larry, although you may have, I don't know. But the whole argument was that if you introduce paid parental leave, you encourage people to have babies on the taxpayer, women will never go back to it, the economy will go to hell in a handbasket. Well, none of that happened. In fact, the opposite happened. And I think this is the same. Look, you're just saying that families deserve a bit of a helping hand just as much as Rio Tinto or Sky City.
No, I don't agree with subsidies in any way, shape or form, Josie, and I'm against Rio Tinto getting a golden payment. But the bottom line is we have got political parties who say that 1 in 4 kids are obese, and we've got 9% starving. Take the lunch off the fat kids and give it to the starving ones.
Okay, so let's just not have lunch at all. Okay. That would solve the obesity problem.
Well, as I said before, we'll be giving them free dinners shortly. But anyway.
The fasting diet.
Yeah, look, just to finish up with Cam, Lord and the Grammys, Best Solo Pop Performance Song of the Year. This kid's just fantastic, I think. She's remarkable.
I don't even know what her music sounds like, and I'd be hypocritical to say it was a wonderful song or whatever, but you know what? She's been voted in by however the awards process goes, and all credit to her at 17, scoring 2 Grammys. 2, isn't it? There's not more.
Yep.
2 Grammys, and I think that's fabulous. And just for David Cummings, it's an E on the end of the name. Yeah,
that's right. Look, a few months ago, my daughter and I were in Atlanta visiting my family there. We drove through the city of Atlanta with the roof down because it was hot, listening to Royals on the radio, and it was just such a proud moment to be a New Zealander. She's just fantastic. It's great.
Thank you so much again. That is Josie Pagani and Cameron Slater on the Huddle. We have sport in just a moment with Mark Watson. It's coming up 10 to 6.